Nats-Astros fan.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler. As the Nationals hang on to beat the Astros 5-4 in 11 innings, they take 2 out of 3 in this series. A wild one tonight. Started off as a great pitching matchup between Steven Strasburg and Dallas Keuchel. The bullpen blows the game in the 9th inning, but the Nats rally with a couple runs in the 11th thanks to a little bit of help from the Astros. And they take 2 of 3 as they head on the long flight back to D.C. for the game tomorrow at the Mets. But before we talk about that series, we got to talk about tonight. We got a special guest here to talk about the Astros. He's the co-editor at Climbing Tal's Hill, which is the Astros fan site. He's also one of the hosts of Talking Stros, a very popular Astros podcast. Please welcome Eric Huysman to the show. Eric, how you doing tonight?
Doing as fine as I could be with the Astros losing like that, but I guess things happen.
So, looking at this game, and for those who are just tuning in, we've been talking off air since about the 10th innings. We've talked about a lot over the last about a half hour or so.
Yeah, we should have just recorded all that.
But what do you take away from tonight's ball game?
Well, the seriousness of Jose Altuve's injury. Hopefully, he was in the dugout. I think apparently we need to get some more pillows in these guys' houses or something, because it seems like a lot of them are getting neck injuries recently, and Dallas Keuchel missed a great chunk because of pinched nerve. But the game was very, like we talked about off the air, it was very fast paced, and I was like, it's already the 5th inning, and then all of a sudden it just slowed to a crawl. And Dallas Keuchel allowed 2 walks, which he doesn't really do that often. And I forgot what it was, like a single or a double that scored 2 runs. And Astros fans are already like, "Oh, it's over, game over." But the bullpen did show up a little bit, except for Tyler Clippard in the last inning. And you have to look at the positives during this kind of, I don't want to call it, we're just kind of waiting for playoffs for real. And we're waiting for September so we can get some more arms up here to kind of arrest people. But it was a well-played game, and it was a good game at the end. And J.D. Davis tried to help us out, but the other guys just didn't want to participate.
Yeah, I think if you look at the series as a whole, it kind of played out tonight like it has the first 2 games. Outside of that 8th inning last night where Houston pulled away, been really competitive, a lot of tight moments. Houston had a chance to win Monday's game. Play. So, all in all, I think these 3 games have been as close as they could be. And if this is a World Series preview, it seems like a pretty even matchup for both these teams, considering both of them have had their fair share of significant injuries.
Yeah, would you? I guess Scherzer would be your ace, and McCullers is kind of our second pitcher. So I guess you can compare that, and we're not full health. Carlos Correa is out. He's playing. We just got another RBI in AAA, but he should be back soon. And y'all are without Bryce Harper, so we're both kind of in the same situations. It's just bad time of year, I guess, to just have these injuries. But I'm not too worried about it in the long run. But yeah, our teams are pretty much. Except for Scherzer, I think Scherzer's going to limit the Astros, especially in the playoffs. And Strasburg shows that he could. So I don't know. Y'all would be a tough matchup. But then again, do I want to face Clayton Kershaw and those guys, assuming he's healthy? And Yu Darvish, even though we've had some success against Yu Darvish. So it's a roll of dice either way.
Take a look at the line scores for both teams. Nationals 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Astros 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. Matt Albers gets the win out of relief, goes to 7-2 after a scoreless 10th inning where he struck out 2 and looked really impressive. The loss goes to former Nats reliever Tyler Clippard. He drops to 2-7, but a lot of that was with the Yankees. And the White Sox gave up both runs in the 11th and struck out 1. But the storyline, I think, was the starting pitching. Steven Strasburg, 6 innings, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. I'll talk more about him later. But, Eric, let's talk about Dallas Keuchel. 7 innings, 2 earned runs on 4 hits, struck out 4, walked 2. And for the first 4 innings, he looked virtually unhittable outside of a double by Rendon and then a couple walks away from him. But in the end, he ends up with 12 ground ball outs. And when he's able to do that, it is really tough for any offense to get into a rhythm against them.
Yeah, at this time, I mean, I don't want to say the Astros don't need wins because they need wins to kind of keep home field advantage over the Red Sox. But to see Keuchel getting that many ground balls, that's good because he's not going to walk that many hitters that often. But he's still trying to battle command issues since he came back from his injury. So just seeing him back again, he's not really striking out a lot of people, but I was at the game today and rushed home. But a few times I heard the pop of a mitt when somebody swung and missed, and I looked at the radar gun and it was only 88 miles per hour. And so his stuff was good today. It just a bad timing in the first inning for those 2 walks. And normally when you walk 2 people in an inning, unless you have really high-powered stuff, it's gonna come back and bite you in the butt.
It was a weird play, especially in the 5th inning, because the Nats get the first run on a Pedro Severino ground ball that goes closer to third base. Keuchel's got a really tough play, and he would have probably got the out if Gurriel was fielding that ball properly at first base. Then De Aza gets a fielder's choice. So Keuchel really gives up 2 runs when he could have got out of that inning with nothing. If I guess Gurriel, how has he looked at first base, and what do you think of that play?
He's looked better at first base than Carlos Lee did way back then, but basically he has issues. He's still learning stuff, and it's going to take him a while to get acclimated. That's why when Correa went out, a lot of people said, well, why don't you put Bregman at short and have Gurriel play third base? But he's going to be playing first base in the playoffs, so we need him to get as much experience as he can out there. So, yeah, that was a bad play. I think Keuchel kind of rushed the throw, but it was a catchable throw. Some people said he could have even maybe thrown it to third base and maybe got out there, but I don't know how reasonable that was. But, yeah, that's just – we normally don't play like that. Our defense is pretty typically good. It's just during this recent streak, it's just not quite what it was beginning of the year.
Michael Taylor had the double in the 7th to make it 3-0. And the Astros come back with a run in the bottom of the 8th inning. Brian McCann gets the RBI single after the Beltran double. And then against John Doolittle. And then Houston gets 2 more in the 9th against Brandon Kinsler. And we'll get into later why it's kind of weird what Dusty was doing there. But then you get into the 2 runs in the 11th inning scored against Clippard. And you look at the Astros bullpen, Eric, and it got a lot of good arms there. Giles was looking really good in the 10th inning after he couldn't pitch last night. Gregerson had a strong inning. Really, Clippard is the X factor here because he's a guy that can be really good, but he's had his bad moments this year. Overall, how do you look at the Astros bullpen right now?
It's missing Will Harris, and I'm not going to count Tony Sipp. He may come back and be perfectly. Let me make sure you can see me. Recovered from his injury. And that way he can maybe perform better. But I don't see him being part of this bullpen. But what has saved the bullpen recently has been Joe Musgrove. And Francis Martes, he's still struggling with his command, but the other day he was on and he pitched like it looked it looked like Johnny Cueto. He was just making people miss. It was only 4 hitters. He struck them all out. But it was just that's a preview of what he can be, but he's a future starter. But for the bullpen right now, Tyler Clippard is the best addition we could have gotten at this point. There's nobody really out there that much better, unless you want to give up a lot of your younger prospects. And the only concern I have is Davinsky, and he's kind of slowed down a little bit, but he's still one of the better. He's still got one of the best changeups in the league. I think the league has caught up to him a little bit, and that's what's going on.
That was a weird sequence in the 11th inning that sort of led to the run. You could say the Nats kind of caught a break thanks to A.J. Hinch. Ryan Zimmerman's at the plate. Wilmer Defoe's on second with 1 out, 0-2 count. The umpires ruled Zimmerman got hit by a pitch. Hinch challenges, and the ball clearly hit off the knob of the bat. So Zimmerman has to go back to first. Go back to hit, and then he reaches first on a strikeout that gets away from McCann, which ends up leading to the sac fly by Rendon. So it's one of those cases, Eric, where the challenge system backfires on the team that gets the call right. You rarely ever see that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the time, I was like, "Oh yeah, we got the call reversed," and then the pass ball happens, and then yeah. So it's not always a good thing. Most times, it helps the team that wins, but this is just one of those rare moments where the runner, I forgot who it was running, but he wouldn't have been on third base to get the sacrifice fly. So, but then another run scored anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But so it was just a good effort to fight back because it looked like Strasburg was dominating, and it didn't look like we had a chance to do anything. But I guess the weird Doolittle coming in eighth inning maybe threw things off a little bit. And I know you said they're probably trying to get Kinsler another save, but I don't know. It was a good comeback effort. It just our bullpen can only be trusted so much.
Now, as we talked about, the Nats have had their fair share of injuries, but so have the Astros. Can you give us a little bit of update on when you might get Carlos Correa and Lance McCullers back into the fold?
I mean, nothing's official about Correa, but he could play this weekend and possibly join us back in Houston, but that's if we're even playing baseball because the storm is supposed to come and hit us tomorrow. And, well, it's hitting Corpus Christi, but it's going to really flood our area because we're on the dirty side. So it's supposed to rain we're supposed to get like 16 inches in the next 4 days. So there may not even be a game next Tuesday. But we'll have to see what's going on. But I'm pretty sure he'll be back. Maybe not the first game, but he'll be back like midweek, probably next week. I think McCann will be back sometime this weekend. He's back with the Astros because he had a return because Harvey was going towards Corpus Christi, so they said, just come back to town. You don't have to play. And then, let's see, Harris should be taking a few more games, and he should be coming back maybe, I would say probably next week. And then McCullers, I heard him say earlier today that if he does really good and feels good, he's hoping he only makes one start in AAA, but we'll see. He's missed quite a bit of time with the back injury. So we'll see. But the team's about to get healthy depending on what's going on with Mr. Altuve. And hopefully it's just a minor thing. I'm not that worried about it. It was kind of a scary moment in the seventh inning when you're down 3 runs, when you're basically MVP comes out of the game.
Taking a look at Jose Altuve, who has been having an insane season. I think the Nats actually did a pretty good job against him this week, all things considering, because this is a guy who was hitting 485 in July. He's not hitting 480 this month, but he's still been impressive. What has stood out to you about him is he's looking like he could be an MVP favorite with about 6 weeks left?
Well, he didn't get frustrated at the beginning of the year because he got off to such a bad start, and everybody's like, what's wrong with him? But he's just got such a sweet swing. He just knows how to make contact. He knows how. He doesn't always try to hit a homer, but he knows when he can. He gets a certain situation or a certain pitch. He knows that he can drive it. But I think it's just the confidence and just the team he has around him. But I think he's probably had to deal with proving himself all his life with his size, and I think he always wants to be better. Like when Carlos Beltran signed with the Astros this offseason, Altuve told Beltran, well, I want to get better. And Beltran's like, wait, didn't you just hit 3-something this year? And he's like, yeah, I want to get better. And I want you to help me get better. And I think that's what Altuve is doing this year. He is better. And maybe it's from Beltran's leadership, but I think if it weren't for Mike Trout, I think you would probably run away with the MVP this year with Judge's recent struggles.
Last question for you before I let you go, Eric. When we look at the Astros now, like you said, they're not quite playing out their string because they still have home field advantage in mind, and the lead isn't as big as it was in the past with the Red Sox playing so well. But what's the biggest concern you think the Astros need to fix between now and I think it's October 4th or October 5th when game 1 of the ALDS is?
Liriano, he has pitched well the past few games. I think he had a 1-2-3 inning either last night or night before. But he needs to be that reliable guy on the bullpen. He can't issue a walk and a hit and then leave the game. But I think deciding who's going to be in the rotation, because a lot of people thought that Mike Fiers was going to be left off the postseason roster. But he pitched really good against y'all yesterday. And I heard a quote from Dusty Baker saying that, we heard that he throws primary breaking balls, so we're trying to set him breaking balls, but he threw a lot of fastballs. So Mike Fiers, will he be in a rotation? And what's Peacock? Will Peacock be a reliever, or will he be that Game 3 starter? So these are just all questions that we have to look forward to. But I think something you may see is kind of a tandem starters. Keuchel will probably go 7 innings in the playoffs, hopefully. And McCullers, maybe. But when you have Charlie Morton and Colin McHugh pitching, you may see Brad Peacock and Joe Musgrove coming in behind them to pitch 3 innings. So that's what you may see in the playoffs, is maybe just having 2 starters basically pitch on the same day. So we'll see. The hitting has got to recover, but I think getting Carlos Correa will be a big lift, because no offense to Margot, because he's played really good, but you need Correa batting fourth. Him and Springer are one of the reasons. I mean, Altuve's always there, but they kind of thrive off each other. And when Correa's not here, it's just they don't have that banter. And so hopefully Correa will come back pretty soon. And I think this team will start winning again. They just went through a slump. That's all it was. I don't think they suck again. I just think that it was just a big slump.
So tell listeners out there, Eric, about what you guys are doing over at Climbing Tal's Hill, to Talking Stros, and any of the social media that you want to plug. Feel free to do so.
Well, over at Climbing Tal's Hill, Cody and I, we just write about the Astros news. We get to do it as a fan and not like a reporter, where we have to we can just kind of say our opinions a little bit more. But at Talking Stros, I'm really proud of what we've done. We've taken ourselves from a internet radio show to on an AM radio station in Houston, and we now have permission to broadcast after every postseason game. That means, what time is it? We'll be broadcasting about this time, probably after games, and I'll have to wake up the next morning and go to work at 5 o'clock. But this is a big deal, because this is like basically 3 to 4 times per week. And so if you live in Houston, or even if you don't, listen to Talking Stros on Sports Talk 790. We talk Astros baseball when no one else does.
Eric, again, thanks for hopping on. Keep up the great work. Stay safe down there this weekend, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll talk again in October when this is matchup in the World Series. But thanks again for the time.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ricky.
So that's Eric Huysman from Climbing Tal's Hill. And I think when you look at this series, and we'll get into a lot of the Nats conversation that you guys, and I appreciate Drew for sort of helping guide Seth and Judo. I did see you guys there, and we're going to get to a lot of your comments. Again, I think the Nationals did a great job, and Seth was bringing this up in the chat room. They play so well against teams with winning records. I mean, I don't think this is a huge game, but to get out of Houston, to win 2 out of 3, to have a lead against Dallas Keuchel with all the injuries the Nats have, I mean, it makes it even more impressive. They were in every game in this series. Edwin Jackson pitched well. Tanner Roark pitched well. Steven Strasburg was great tonight until he had that left calf cramp, and we'll see what Dusty says about that. I'm still just kind of surprised that, in a sense, he doesn't warm up a guy in the bullpen right away when Strasburg gets those cramps. I mean, like in April against Philadelphia when he was at over 110 pitches, he did the same thing. when he's got the cramps, warm somebody up. Don't have him keep pitching with cramps. And then they have to come out and give him the water and the electrolytes and all that stuff. But all in all, I was very impressed. A good movement on his breaking ball. His fastball was, again, pretty strong, about 95, 96. 6 innings, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 60 of 90 pitches for strikes. So I came away very impressed with what Strasburg did. In 2 starts, he's looked really good coming off the disabled list. Again, all you hope it's a cramp, and I don't think it's anything serious in regards to that. But I think definitely a good sign that he can go up against one of the best pitchers in the American League and go toe-to-toe with him. And that's what you know with the talent that Strasburg has. When he's healthy, he can do that. Let me get into the big storyline that was going to come from this game. That's the bullpen. And I know Judo was here before we started the show. Thanks, Judo. And he said the Nats haven't blown a save since July 3rd. And while Kinsler's closer experience, he's been our setup guy for the past month. Why did Dusty not put Kinsler in the 8th and Judo in the 9th? Which I know Drew mentioned in the chat room as well. The big reason why that was, and I don't know if Dusty has commented, I'm sure if Drew sees a quote, he'll let me know. Dusty felt like wanted to go with the matchups. You knew when we talked about the deadline, it wasn't always going to be set rules. They were going to kind of go by the matchups or try to play things out and see what works. I don't know if I would have did that tonight. I would have maybe waited till after you got the division wrapped up and then made a decision to sort of flip roles around. I didn't hate the move. I mean, obviously, both those guys have pitched so well this year. You would think that pitching in innings wouldn't matter to them, and I don't think it does. You look at Doolittle tonight in the 8th inning, and I thought, all things considering, he started off giving off the double to Beltran, the base hit to McCann, and Marisnik really took him deep for a 2-run shot, but that ball dived the track. But to get the double play on Springer shows that Doolittle, when he goes out there, you're still confident whatever inning he pitches, he gets out of a jam. And it was just a rough night for Brandon Kinsler. When you look at his 9th inning, the Houston Astros did a great job hitting him around, Bregman with the base hit. Davis hits a ground ball, but Kinsler makes a nice play to get the out at first. And then a base hit by Reddick, double by Gurriel. But I'm going to give Kinsler this credit. He gets Gonzalez to strike out, and then 2 batters later gets McCann to ground out and Zimmerman. So Kinsler to hang in there despite blowing the save, his first blown save with the Nationals uniform, and to get the game to extra innings, I thought was crucial. So I think you learned something about both those relievers despite blowing the save. So there's still bad things involved, but there's a lot of good things that you can take away from this game as well. Matt Alberts, like I said, was impressive in the 10th inning. A couple of strikeouts, and Solis did give up the home run to J.D. Davis, but got the job done, gets the save, which I believe, as Andrew Simon tweeted out during the game, Solis is the 9th different Nats pitcher to record a save this season, which is a new record. They had 8 players record a save in 2009. So it's been how crazy this year has been with the bullpen. On offense, they went 1 for 11 with men scoring position, but I sort of liked the strategy they had tonight. You had the RBI ground out by Severino that would end up being an error on Gurriel in the 5th, and then Diaz reaching the fielder's choice. And I liked the strategy in 11th inning. Look, if Wilmer Defoe's at the plate there, you got to lay down a bunt. You got to try to get on base, and he did the job. Got over to second on the ground out by Murphy, moves to third of the strikeout, get the run home. They have to do different things out of convention because they don't have the firepower right now. I mean, the Nats have scored the fewest runs of any team in the National League this month, so they're going to have to score runs differently, just the way it is. When they get guys back, then you'll see them go back to the kaboom hitting, home run crushing power team that they were all year. They've hit the 2nd fewest home runs of any team in the NL this month. So you got to win different ways, but I like that Anthony Rendon sort of bounced back tonight. He had a couple of doubles. Matt Wieters, a huge game, 2 for 4 with an RBI. You had Michael Taylor pick up a big RBI in the 7th, as we mentioned. Other than that, really, Rendon and Wieters carried the show offensively with 4 out of the 7 hits. So if you're hoping Rendon breaks out of his slump, he has good numbers against the Mets this weekend, so that will help. Howie Kendrick did leave the game in the 10th. That's something to monitor. I think they just did that for defense. And I do have a quote here. I think Seth brought it up. I see it here on my Twitter from Chelsea James. Dusty said he went with Doolittle to play matchups, wanted Beltran hitting right-hand, said he felt that was ending a decision. I think that was the right call. Again, if you get the tougher part of the lineup up, and you're seeing a lot of teams do this now, the 8th inning might be where you need the closer. So Doolittle can get the tougher guys out in the lineup, and then you flip it over to Kinsler for the easier portion, which I think with Houston, there is no easier portion. Still a really good team, but you get him for the less dangerous hitters. So I think Dusty made the right call. It just didn't work for him. And you're right, Judo. Fewest runs in the NL and still winning record. Nope, it's amazing. And it just tells you, I think, the job Dusty Baker has done, the job that the guys off the bench have done, as to why they've had a winning record this month. They haven't really lost any ground in the East, despite Miami playing so well. And that's a testament to the manager, the guys coming off the bench, and the starting pitching, which I think the Nats PR tweet out during the game has an ERA under 2 since August 9th. So over a 2-week stretch, the starting pitching has been fantastic. And that's really what's going to carry them in the postseason. Is if they can get Scherzer, who will come back hopefully this weekend. He hasn't thrown a bullpen yet, won't pitch tomorrow, but hopefully he comes back. Gio's pitching like a Cy Young caliber kind of guy. Strasburg's looked good in 2 starts coming back. Roark has looked better. And Edwin Jackson has been as good a 5-star as you can ask for. Good starting pitchers. And you can win any given day with those guys on the mound. So I like the way what they do it. Yep, magic number is 24. Fortunately, that number keeps going down, luckily. Gio, congrats on the badge of the NASA facility. So Booker is a NASA guy, and congratulations on his job. I don't think I've been here, Judo, since you got it, so I will give you my congratulations on the air, because I think Ron and Drew have mostly been here throughout the last couple of days. Anything else to take a look at tonight? Alvar Perez, I didn't mention in the bullpen. 1, 2, 3, 7th inning. I thought he was impressive. And I've been really a big Alvar Perez fan this year. I've liked the way that he's gone out there and just gotten guys out quietly. I mean, I think he's exceeded expectations as well. So let's look around the big leagues, what's gone on today. Of course, magic number is not at 23 because of the Marlins. 9-8 win over the Phillies. They rallied from an 8-5 deficit. Giancarlo Stanton, a home run, his 47th of the season. He's now at 100 RBIs. Marcell Ozuna had 3 more ribbies. He's at 98. And the Miami Marlins at 500. They're still, I think, 5.5 back in the wild card. Colorado beat Kansas City 3-2 thanks to a 2-run homer by Pat Valaika in the 8th inning. So they got a big win after Greg Holland blew the save last night. Dodgers beat the Pirates 5-2. They're now at 90 and 36. Another home run for Curtis Granderson today. Man, has that trade worked out for them. And Cincinnati beat the Cubs 4-2. So Milwaukee will gain a half game on Chicago. Milwaukee's actually in LA this weekend, so that's a fun series. And the Cardinals losing 2 out of 3 to the Padres. So their postseason chances getting dimmer and dimmer by the day. Atlanta had the night off tonight. They are going to be at home against Colorado starting tomorrow. So that's your scores around the East. And of course, we would be remiss if we did not talk about the Yankees. And feel free. We're a national show, but if you want to give your take on what happened today in Detroit, if you didn't see it, find the video. And NBA.com sure has it. Michael Fulmer hits Gary Sanchez, but Gary Sanchez hits a home run off of him. No warnings are issued. Tommy Kamey throws behind Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera doesn't like it. Austin Romine and Miguel Cabrera have little words. Cabrera then starts shoving Romine, starts punching Romine. Then Gary Sanchez comes in. He throws a punch. Betances in a 6-6 game in the 7th, throws it and hits the helmet of James McCann in the helmet. I don't think it was intentional, but Betances can be usually wild, but it's bad optics. Betances gets thrown out of the game, which naturally you get warned if you hit somebody at all, you get thrown out. Robertson then hits somebody, doesn't get thrown out. And then the 8th inning, Alex Wilson hits Todd Frazier. Brad Austin saying something to Brett Gardner. I don't think the umps had a control the situation all day. I saw about the latter portion of the game, and the umpires could have prevented it early by just giving a warning after Fulmer hit Sanchez. I mean, that would have easily stopped it. I don't know why they didn't do that. And to me, looking at it from the Yankee perspective, I think that they should have realized they have more to play for than Detroit does. And now you might see both Gary Sanchez and Austin Romine getting suspended, which they need both those catchers. Right now, their only other catcher on the 40-man's on the DL. Miguel Cabrera hopefully gets the bulk of the games because he was the guy who started it in a way. But there will be plenty of suspensions handed down by Major League Baseball. And Judo's going to be doing air traffic simulations. So we wish you all the best, Judo. And you're one of, obviously, you and Seth have been great commenters here. We want everybody to comment. So always, if you have a question or comment, send it to the YouTube page or tweet me at District on Deck or at Rickinator555. Let's go around the league here. The minors, look what's going on today. Went on today. Syracuse lost to Lehigh Valley 5-1, but Brandon Snyder hit his 20th home run of the season, the lone run for the Chiefs. John Sims went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 7 hits, struck out 5, walked 3. Rough night for Eddie Romero, gave up 2 runs on 1 hit in 2/3 of an inning. So not the best night for him, but he's looked good in the other 3 games with Syracuse, so hopefully Romero will be back soon to help out the bullpen and add more depth there. Harrisburg took on Reading in Double-A action. I'm looking for the score here. The Senators lost 4-2. Austin Voth gave up 3 runs in the first inning. He did recover after that and pitched a decent outing. 6 innings, 3 runs, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, but he gets the loss. Lone RBIs coming from Osvaldo Abreu and Victor Robles. 1 for 4 with a run bat with an RBI. He's now 315 in terms of batting average with 12 runs batted in. So been a pretty good month or so for Victor Robles in Double-A. Potomac, they are in playoff contention, but they have lost the last 3 games to Salem, which is the Red Sox affiliate, 6-5. A walk-off hit given up by Gilberto Mendez in the bottom of the 9th inning. Daniel Johnson, a solo shot to lead off the game, his 5th this season. 3 hits for Austin Davidson, 3 hits and 3 RBIs for David Masters, who's a shortstop. Taylor Gulabel gave up 5 runs in 5 innings in a no decision. Hagerstown took on Lakewood in South Atlantic League action. The Suns blew out the Blue Claws 11-5. Ben Raymer got the win. 7 innings, 3 earned runs, 10 hits, and struck out 8. So good outing for him. 2 hits for Tres Barrera, including a home run. Tomito Augustine, 2 hits and a home run. 3 hits for Nick Banks as well in the win for the Suns. Auburn lost the game late to Williamsport 6-4 New York Penn League action. Omar Mereglido, I'll try to get that right. His 8th home run of the season. Pretty good outing and 3 hits for Nick Cherubi, the top of the order hitter for Auburn in left field at Texas A&M. A good outing by Nick Raquette, the 3rd-round pick out of William & Mary this year. 6 innings, 1 strikeout, gave just 1 run on 4 hits and 74 pitches. So they've been we talked with Evan Stockton, the Auburn announcer, and he was mentioning how they kind of want to get Raquette to not worry about the strikeouts and just get ground outs. And so it's been a big part of his year so far. And the GCL Nats postponed against the GCL Astros. That's your minor league update for what's going on tonight. So let's take a look at what's going on Friday. Before we do that, Seth asked, what fight was better, Nats Giants or Yankees Tigers? It's a good question. To me, I kind of like the whole getting back at Hunter Strickland thing. I think Strickland carrying a grudge for 2 years may kind of help that fight. I just think the umpires did a bad job preventing the fight today. I mean, it really could have been avoided, and I mean, there's no excuse for any of the parties involved. Like, I'm not going to condone Gary Sanchez punching somebody or Miguel Cabrera throwing some punches at Austin Roma. I'm not going to do that at all. But I think in the end, I would go with the Nats-Giants fight. I think that fight was better in my mind. So looking at this series, I think the Nats have a tough matchup tomorrow. They have not made the roster move official yet, but it will be Jacob deGrom against A.J. Cole. deGrom has not been good his last couple starts, but he's still been one of the best pitchers in the league this year. His ERA has been great late since the break, about a little bit over 3. You look at strikeouts, innings pitched, wins. He's in the top 5 in every category. I'm expecting the good Jacob deGrom to be there for the Mets because they've had a really rough year with injuries. Michael Conforto dislocated his shoulder today. He's probably going to could have surgery on that shoulder. That came out about a couple hours ago. So they've had Conforto's one of my favorite players to watch. So that's just a bad injury for him. It's going to be up to A.J. Cole, though, and I think the key for Cole here is just keep the Nats in the ballgame. If he doesn't have to go out there and dominate. Remember, the Mets, they don't have Reyes. They don't have Conforto. They traded Granderson. They traded Duda. They traded they didn't trade anybody else on offense, but their lineup is not as strong as it was in the start of the season. You're only looking at Cespedes, Cabrera, a couple other guys, but I think Cole could have some success. He did give up 4 runs for 4 innings and struck out 8 last start in Syracuse. I mean, I'd love to see Eric Fetty or even Jacob Turner, but maybe that's an option Sunday if Max Scherzer can't go. But we'll see if Cole can just deliver, and it's a good option just to get Gio an extra day off after throwing 120 pitches on Friday. So Gio will throw Saturday against Robert Gazelman, and no starters have been announced yet for Sunday other than Tanner Roark will go one of those 2 games. From what I'm reading, I think I saw Mike Puma in the New York Post talk about it. The Mets could call up a prospect for one of those games. Maybe Seth Lugo might come back for one of those games. They've had a lot of injuries, the Mets, so it's tough to kind of evaluate who's going to pitch there. But all we know is for sure it's DeGrom and Cole tomorrow and Gio and Gazelman on Saturday. I'll be with you tomorrow night. Ron will be with you on Saturday. We'll both be back here after the Sunday night game on ESPN, I believe, on Sunday. I've not really confirmed that, but usually we do that after double headers. So after I do game 2, we'll both be back here and we'll talk about both games on the show. We also have a cool interview going up this weekend. I'm not going to tell you about it. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. So you have to tune in the DoDcast tomorrow, figure out our cool interview that Ron is doing. So I think you'll enjoy the special guest that we'll have, not on the DoDcast, but we'll record it and we'll put it on here for you guys. Yeah, I'm right with you, Judo. That's really terrible about the Michael Morse concussion issue. And I didn't really if you have to feel terrible if you're Hunter Strickland that happened. And yeah, Seth, I wasn't here last night. I know Ron talked about it. That's a bad break for Rich Hill. Losing that no-hitter. I would not have put him out there for the 10th. I mean, I think once you get past 9 innings, I think you got to go to the bullpen. I'm not saying that's why Dave Roberts lost the game, but Dave Roberts is usually cautious with his pitchers. Remember last year he took Hill out with after the blister, coming back from it with a no-hitter, and Dodgers ended up losing it. So maybe Roberts is trying to help out Hill in that regard. I was surprised he pitched the 10th, especially with the game being no score. I think if it was 1-0, then yeah, you keep Rich Hill in. But nevertheless, that was an impressive outing. And when his breaking ball is as good as it was last night, he's tough to beat. We saw that in the playoffs last year. So again, our thanks to Eric Huysman from Climbing Tal's Hill for coming on the show. Again, we're going to have some cool – we always like to have guests from other teams. So maybe we'll do something down the stretch with another team if the Nats have another big series. Or we'll do some playoff previews as well with other guests. Chelsea James tweeted Strasburg on whether he's worried about the cramps moving forward. He said not worried, which is great news. But you have to wonder why he keeps cramping so much. This is the second time that's happened this year, and I remember him in the past. He's had games like that. I did not see the Sports Illustrated cover, no. But that's got to be a concern, I think. That, as I mentioned, all those cramps that he's had. So here's what we have on the site. Tomorrow I'm going to have five storylines to watch for the Mets series. I'll talk about, of course, I'll give you a couple of guys like Dom Smith and Ed Rosario, which are 2 of the Mets' top prospects. They're with the team now, so a lot going on. I wrote about how Edwin Jackson's been a good 5th starter for the Nats and what that can be going forward. He's faced a lot of playoff caliber teams, so that's a good sign for him. And Ron writes about why Dusty Baker deserves to return in 2018. Scott Service got an extension for Seattle. Meanwhile, Dusty Baker's contract's up in the air, and I don't think it's fair to him, even though at the same time, I think the Nats are waiting it out and seeing what happens this year. If Dusty has a good team and then loses in the first round again, do you bring him back? I mean, I think that's going to be something that the ownership and the front office has to answer. So we got that going up tomorrow. I know Ron's going to have something up tomorrow as well. So again, I'll be with you tomorrow night. And then Ron will be with you on Saturday, and the 2 of us will be here on Sunday. Seth said the cover said best team ever, talking about the Dodgers. Again, we'll see in October. Again, they have to win the whole thing to sort of be considered for that. You kind of look at the 98 Yankees sort of being an example as being a team that had a great regular season and won it all. Seattle, when they did it in 2001, did not have a deep run in the playoffs. But, I mean, they're 90-36. I don't think we've seen a team like this in quite some time. Since the 98 Yankees. I think that's how great this team looks. But it's going to come down to what they do in the playoffs. And best of 5 with either Colorado or Arizona, you never know what might happen. Or depending if Milwaukee kind of sneaks in here, their offense can put up runs with the Dodgers. It's going to matter of how healthy Kershaw is. And he's supposedly pitching a rehab assignment this weekend. So It'll be something to monitor. Maybe Kershaw pitches in D.C. this next month, and the Nats beat Kershaw in that game and maybe get some confidence too. A lot can happen, but I think right now the Dodgers have earned the right to be sort of in that best team conversation, but they have to win it all to make that a reality. And what's up, Al? Hope everything's well with you guys. I'll echo the sentiment I said to Eric. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the southwest area that's going to be affected by Hurricane Harvey. Please stay safe, stay indoors. Going to be a lot of rain over there, so hope everybody stays safe through this bad hurricane that's about to happen over there. So again, follow us on Twitter at District on Deck, Advocanator555. Like us on Facebook. Hit like on this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got cool interviews. We always have DoDcast Postgame for you guys after every game. So feel free, if you missed the postgame, go back later and check it out. Once again, the Nationals get the win. Final score 5-4 in 11 innings over the Astros. And really a resilient win tonight. Strasburg and Keuchel, the pitching matchup lived up to the hype, and that usually does not happen. So I was really impressed with both those starters. Good offenses on both sides. At least Houston has more of their pieces than the Nats do. But I love the resiliency. Despite blowing the lead in the 9th inning, the Nats rallied to get 2 runs in the 11th with the Rendon sac fly and the Wieters base hit, which, by the way, good hustle by Zimmerman, scoring all the way from first on that play. Yes, he was running on the pitch, but still not something you expect. So, again, I think that's a good resilient win. They'll get into D.C. early tomorrow morning, and hopefully they have enough energy because it's going to be a tough battle with DeGrom tomorrow night. I'm not really expecting a win, but I hope that A.J. Cole will keep the game close. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day because it's 12:42 a.m. here. And I'll see you back here tomorrow night for the opener of the 4 games in 3 days between the Nets and the Nats. See you later, everybody.